The astronaut in space inserts a chip into a slot, and the very next second, he wakes up inside his clone on Earth. This is cutting-edge technology designed specifically for astronauts, allowing them to complete tedious missions in space while still regularly returning to Earth to spend time with their families. But one night, while David was sleeping beside his family, he suddenly heard strange noises downstairs. He grabbed a baseball bat and carefully went downstairs, only to find a group of thugs breaking into his home. They had heard that David had a synthetic body at home and were extremely curious about it. They rushed forward together and quickly restrained David. The gang leader pulled out a knife and slashed hard, instantly severing David's arm. The internal structure of the android was exposed. To their surprise, his body was filled with oil, not a single drop of blood. That only made them more curious. They wondered whether David's family members were also artificial beings. With a heavy blow, David was knocked unconscious, and his consciousness instantly returned to space. Panicked, he hurriedly took out the chip and inserted it into the device, trying to return to his clone again. When he opened his eyes, he realized he was tied up behind his back. At that very moment, the vicious thugs were brutally murdering his family, and he could do nothing to stop it. A raging fire consumed David's home, and his clone body was completely destroyed. From that moment on, he could no longer use the chip to return to Earth. The space mission still had 4 full years left to go. His colleague Jesse came to comfort him, saying that David had clearly seen the attackers' faces and that they would surely be brought to justice. No matter what Jesse said, David was already living like a walking corpse. His beard grew longer, and his spirit grew more broken by the day. Once, while staring into space, absent-mindedly, he nearly suffocated himself inside the capsule. Thankfully, Jesse arrived in time and pulled him out before it was too late. This couldn't go on. It was a 2-person spacecraft, and if David continued to sink into despair, Jesse would be left alone, and that would be a death sentence for both of them. After discussing it with his wife, she came up with an idea. She suggested lending her clone body to David, allowing him to return to Earth, experience life there again, and perhaps find a way out of his grief. Jesse thought it made sense. So after returning to space, he asked David if he was willing to use his clone body to breathe fresh air on Earth once more.
Do you like that? I think I'd like that very much.
And so, Jesse had David lie down in his own rest pod and inserted the chip into the slot. As the machine powered up, David's consciousness was transmitted to Earth, and he woke up in Jesse's clone body. He looked at his hands, then touched his face, still not fully used to this new body. Stepping outside the cabin, he politely greeted Jesse's wife.
Cliff said it might take a little getting used to. Would you like to see the forest?
Yes. Thank you.
As David once again touched the fresh greenery and felt the warmth of the sunlight, it was as if he regained the will to live. Perhaps it was time to let go of the past, focus on completing the space mission, and start a new life when he finally returned to Earth. As he spoke, tears began streaming down his face. Lana stepped forward and gave him a warm hug.